Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pete and Jeremy's D&D Time. This is game 2 this evening, an adventure that I have entitled The Arcanists Cookbook. But before we dive into that adventure, I'd like to introduce our four lovely characters who are going to be playing with us this evening. First, we have Issac Yunot. Issac, welcome.
Thank you.
Issac, your voice seems a lot higher than I remember it.
Yeah, I ate something bad.
Well, you know, sometimes that happens. Gosh, is it like a recent you ate something bad, or was it a while ago and now your voice is all different forever?
It's a while ago.
Oh, well, is it? Do you see this as like a bad thing, or is it actually kind of like fun in a way? Is there a positive spin on this?
Well, I mean, I can never try helium.
That's fair. That'd be very hard to speak on helium with your voice already so high. Well, Issac, welcome back. Of course, it's your second adventure here with Bartholomew's adventuring company. What have you been doing since your arrival here in the lands of D&D Time? Have you been, exploring and kind of getting to know the place? And what are your main kind of goals and aspirations as an adventurer?
I was collecting rocks.
Have you found any cool rocks lately?
Yeah. There was one in a shape of a finger.
A rock in the shape of a phoenix?
A finger.
Yeah.
Oh, a finger. I thought you said phoenix. I was gonna be like, wow, that's a very so just a very all right. I is it like very very distinctly a finger, or is it
Yeah.
kind of? Are you sure it wasn't part of like a petrified creature?
I'm not sure.
Oh well, either way, got to be a cool rock. Well, Issac, welcome back. It's great to have you as always. Maybe you'll find some cool rocks on this adventure. Who knows?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Our next hero this evening is Elaria Shadepaw. Welcome, Elaria. How are you?
Hello. I am well. How are you?
Elaria, I'm doing pretty dang good. I really can't complain. Obviously, this is one of your first. I think this is your second adventure here in Bartholomew's company. What brings you to the lands of D&D Time, and I guess exploring and adventuring as a whole? What's your kind of goals here?
Well, I mean, I can't really tell what brought me to these lands in particular.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of slightly above my pay grade. However, I was somewhat commanded, I guess you could say, guided, divine intervention. I think you get the idea.
Oh well, of course. If I remember correctly, your god is one of kind of the in between of life and death, right? Kind of like a guide.
That's how I serve him mostly. A lot of people tend to have the idea more that he's just more about light, but that's more of a newer interpretation of things.
I got you. Some people see him as light in general, but you see him as kind of like that you're dying.
The Rainbow Bridge
kind of deal, of course. Well, Elaria, so is that your goal really, to share the word of the Rainbow Bridge throughout the lands, or just to maybe find yourself and find what it means here?
Well, everyone comes to the Rainbow Bridge eventually. My responsibility is more to try to make sure that people don't get there before it's time for them to come.
That is a very noble goal, Elaria. I wish you the absolute best in it. And I'm sure there are plenty of folks throughout your adventures that you're going to find that can really probably benefit from your help. Welcome back, and I hope you have a wonderful adventure. Hopefully you don't have to save anyone from maybe dying a little too early this adventure. But if you do, I hope you succeed.
That is the goal, as always.
Excellent. And of course, welcome back. It's great to have you. Our next adventure, and pardon me if I mispronounce it, my brain is filled with words and numbers and all sorts of nonsense today, is a brand new adventurer here in Bartholomew's Adventuring Company, and that's Jabez, oh my goodness, Jabez Barkai. I am so sorry. Oh, my brain.
As you wish, my lord. As you wish, my lord. It is my honor to serve, and however you choose to pronounce my name, it is my honor to respond.
Well, I'm gonna go with Jabez because that I think is correct, but I'm not sure. I apologize if I'm wrong. But
Thank you, my
welcome.
lord. My parents would agree.
Well, your parents were smart people. Welcome to Bartholomew's Adventuring Company. I know this is your first adventure with us, going out tonight. What I mean, obviously you've been very, very kind to me, but what brings you to the lands of D&D? Well, I mean, to explore and adventure throughout the lands of DnDTime with Bartholomew's Company.
Well, my lord, since early adolescence, I trained in the compound of the Knights of the Order of God Rognan, and my superiors chose in their wisdom to send me out to get more experience of the world, and specifically suggested that I seek out the great wizard Bartholomew and add myself to his service, if such was acceptable to him.
Well, I'll tell you, God Rognan is a well-respected god here in the lands of DnDTime. God of both everything, even conflicting things. I imagine life in a temple or compound dedicated to God Rognan must have been a challenging upbringing.
It is a challenge, but it is the same challenge to which he calls each of us to understand experiences that may not be ones to which we were born.
Interesting. There's a lot to like God Rognan with such great depth. There's a lot to think about. Jabez, welcome. I wish you the absolute best in your first adventure here, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of wisdom to be gleaned throughout your adventures here in Bartholomew's Company as you learn to be a greater servant of God Rognan and I guess the Church of everything. So
thank you, my lord. I strive to be of service.
And last but certainly not least, joining us this evening, we've got Clementine. Welcome back, Clementine.
Hello.
Clementine, that's a really nice hat that you're wearing. It looks like a top hat.
Thanks.
Where did you find that top hat?
I found it from my counterpart, Deadly Massacre. And speaking of Deadly Massacre, we're basically building a collection of chandeliers.
Oh, you're building a collection of chandeliers.
Yes.
I'll say, I've heard of people collecting, figurines. I've heard of people collecting rocks in the case of Issac. I've heard of people collecting a lot of different things. I've never heard of people collecting chandeliers.
Yes, I am collecting chandeliers.
I know you're something of what do you what do they call the little shows that you put on, little plays with the zombies? Are they is it like just traveling theater or?
I don't remember off the top of my head right now.
Well, you're of course a famous actor in these theaters. You don't have to remember what it's called. That's not what they pay you to fight zombies. Well, Clementine, I know that you were once a famous actor. Has collecting chandeliers like eclipsed your old hobbies, or are you still doing the acting gig?
Yeah, now I remember. It's called the Walking Dead.
Oh yes, of course.
It's more of a side hobby, not
It's a side gig.
Yeah.
Well, Clementine, I hope that you find some zombies for your main hustle, and I hope that maybe you find some cool chandeliers throughout your adventure today for your kind of side hustle, collecting chandeliers.
Thank you.
Welcome back. And so let's start off today's adventure. The four of you have, of course, been hired by, not hired, but sent out by Bartholomew himself. The crotchety old wizard called you into his shop in the wee morning hours and told you that a good friend of his by the name of Clinton out in the Baradac Swamp was in need of your assistance. And so the four of you began to make your way to the Baradac Swamp. Bartholomew was able to teleport you most of the way, but there's a real dearth of teleportation circles actually in the swamp. And so he teleported you to a strange rock formation in a kind of plains outside, just outside of the swamp, and you began to make your way in and through. You've been traveling for the better part of 3-4 hours. It's cloudy. It's a little bit hazy as swamp gas bubbles up from the marsh and muck around you. You're traveling on the remnants of what must have once been a cobbled road, which is mostly sunk into the mud. You see the occasional dead tree, its empty, dry branches reaching up toward a gray, barren sky. Insects buzz about, but seemingly leave you be for the most part. There's not a lot of life that you see here. You've maybe come across one strange rabbit-like creature, but twisted and bare of fur. But it quickly scampered away as you got close. Finally, you see ahead of you, after a few hours of walking, your destination. A crooked tower reaching up into the sky, crafted of cobbles. It seems to be the last vestige of what once was a mighty fortress, but even it now lies almost at a tilted angle, reaching out of the muck and mire. The cobbled road seems to lead right up to it. And as you approach, there appears to be one obvious entrance to this stone tower. A oaken door. Affixed to it appears to be some sort of mummified face or head of a creature, like you would have mounted on a wall, perhaps. What would you all like to do as you stand outside of this really creepy, abandoned-looking tower that you're supposed to meet a man named Clinton at?
Clementine's gonna say, this reminds me of my good old days. I remember fighting zombies and having to go to abandoned houses. This is just like it.
Yeah, and you haven't seen any zombies throughout your walk in the swamp, but this does feel like, Clementine, the kind of place that you think, yeah, I feel like I've seen this before, and there were zombies here, and or something. It reminds you very much of that kind of circumstance. But yeah, you guys are just standing currently outside of this building. There seems to be maybe like a little fenced off garden area in the back, so it looks like there is something here. Yeah, does anyone want to approach the door? You want to look around? Again, you're on a bare remnant of a road right now.
I think we should be sneaky. I don't know if anybody else agrees, though.
All right. Oh!
But I think we lost one person.
That's not good.
Looks like Angst was having some issues with Discord. Welcome back, Angst. Can you hear us all right? Oh, no.
Angst?
Thank you very much.
Oh, excellent. So,
Sincere
Angst,
apologies. I don't know what happened.
oh, it's fine. Did you hear the intro at all? Or do you know where you guys are?
We're in front of a crooked tower, I believe.
Excellent. You betcha. All right, then you're right up to date with everyone else. Yeah, there's something of a small chicken wire fence toward the back of this little tower that seems to be gathered around some growing vegetation, maybe a garden. It's probably the most green that you've seen in this whole swamp, your whole couple hours of walking here. But yeah, Clementine, you want to sneak up to the door,
Yes.
or do you want to sneak around the back?
I want to sneak around the back because I want to see what's actually inside the fence.
Okay. So, Clementine, is anyone else going to sneak up with Clementine?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Not going in the mud. Not the mud.
Yeah, you've managed miraculously. It looks like it hasn't been raining in the swamp lately. Otherwise, you know that this road would have gotten pretty mucky. But it seems that you've dodged the proverbial bullet with this one so far, Elaria. Okay, well,
I don't think the plants are quite worth the risk. You two can go ahead and get muddy, but not me.
okay.
Would you
So-
prefer I go with them or stay with you?
It's up to you. I can kind of see over there-ish. As long as
Well-
it's not too far out of vision, then...
Yeah, I mean, it can't be from where you're standing on the little remnants of the road. I mean, the door is maybe 10 feet ahead of you. You're pretty much at the tower, and going around the tower is maybe another 15 feet back. Tower's not that big. But yeah, it sounds, Isaac, you and Clementine are sneaking up, so I'd like both of you to roll me stealth checks as you sneak around to look at the garden. Okay. So the two of you sneak past the door, and as you sneak past the door, what are your passive perceptions?
11.
Just a second to find it again.
Yeah, no problem. It'd be right on the character sheet on the left.
Okay, 11. Found it.
11. Okay, so yeah, you sneak past the door, no problem, and make your way over to the garden. And you kind of peek over this chicken wire fence, and it is very dense and thick growth here, but it's definitely a garden. There's clearly like a path through the middle that isn't overgrown. That's very clear, where you could, a person could walk and like tend the vegetables and stuff growing. And speaking of vegetables, you see a lot of vegetables, but they all seem just a little bit strange to you. Yeah, like they're just all a little off. You see a tomato that's like the size of a pumpkin, growing off of one of the shrubs. You see an eggplant that seems to be growing roughly in the shape of like a humanoid. So it has like little arms and legs, but it's not moving at all. And it doesn't seem to have, it's like where the head would be is where it attaches to the stem of the plant it's hanging from. Yeah, you see some chili peppers that look like they're actually like on fire. There's some very peculiar plants growing back here.
Can I check for like magic to see if they have Arcana?
Yeah, I mean, I think you don't even have to make a roll for that, Clementine. I think you can tell at least the peppers. Those are definitely slightly magical peppers, as they're on fire, but they're not burning. So they have some sort of magical property to them. And looking around at all the strangeness growing here, your guess is there's probably quite a few things here that are magical in nature, magical plant life. Do you want to like sneak into the garden, or are you fine to just look from where you are currently?
I just want to take can I take one of the fruits that's not burning?
You just want to grab the closest fruit that you think you can grab?
Yes.
Okay. And Isaac, are you doing anything else?
No.
Okay, I'd like you to roll me a sleight of hand check then, Clementine.
Ah,
Okay.
crap.
It's fine, it's fine. you go to reach out because you see what looks like a pea pod that's hanging from a branch, and it's like a fairly long pea pod. It's like maybe like 8 inches long, and you're like, oh man, they're gonna have some giant peas in that. That's gonna be funny. They're gonna be the size of golf balls. And so you go to like reach out for it, and as you do so, the pea pod abruptly opens up and tries to wrap around your hand. Like it just comes alive and tries to grab you. I'd like you to roll me a dexterity saving throw as you try and pull your hand away from this seemingly aggressive pea pod. All right, you duck backwards, and the pea pod like swings around and lashes out at you a couple of times, trying to seemingly bite you. There are giant peas in it, though.
Well, I think
Yeah, what do you do?
I think we should go in the garden and just go around the back. If we have
It looks like there's a back door, actually, you can see from where you are.
Hey, Isaac, do you want to go tell the others that there's a back door?
Sure.
Okay, so you go to the front, back where Elaria and Jabez are, and have you two been doing anything, or have you just been watching your friends go over and peek around in the garden and almost get attacked by a plant? And
Elaria has just been watching very, very smugly.
just like, I made the right choice.
Jabez has been watching with concern, but hasn't made any move to do anything because Elaria seems to be content to stay where we are.
Okay. So yeah, Isaac, you come back to where those two are, and what do you say?
There aren't any rocks.
There aren't any rocks.
Okay, good. Do we want to just
What a
go
pity.
knock on the door?
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Okay.
Elaria is going to... Is there a way to get from the road remnants
Yeah, there's a path. that
to
goes right up to the
the...
door.
There's a path that doesn't seem to be muddy?
Yeah, it actually seems fairly well maintained, believe it or not. There are actually like flat stones that have been placed up on the mud that haven't just sunk into it that you can walk on.
Okay, Elaria is going to start heading up towards the front door.
Yeah, and I assume, Jabez, you're following behind Elaria?
I am in a stance to guard the cleric.
Excellent. So you're a little defensive here. I think in that case, Jabez, you're the one who notices as you two approach the door. And Isaac, you're nearby. You can be in either spot right now, Isaac, because you're just kind of in between at the moment. But you notice there's the big wooden door, and there's a door knocker right in the middle, and a doorknob to the side. But above the door knocker is where that like mummified head of a creature is mounted. And as you're getting close to it, you can see that it's got a kind of pale purplish color to its skin, and it has these almost tentacles that come down from its mouth. And this is a creature that, as an adventurer, you've probably heard about. This looks like the head of a mind flayer, which is a strange kind of Cthulhian entity that is known to devour the minds of creatures by literally cracking their heads open and eating their brains. It seems like that creature's head is mounted on the door. And more than that, as you get close to it, it appears to be moving slightly and drooling slightly, as there's a strange gray-blue drool coming from beneath its tentacles on its mouth, or mouth area tentacles, that are kind of dripping down into the mud before it. And it seems like it's snoring, maybe? In the way that it's heaving and breathing.
Jeremy, I was actually gonna go around to the back door just to figure out what was in the back door, because Clementine's
Okay.
really eager to do that.
Okay, I'm gonna get to you in just a second, Clementine, because we gotta evaluate that. in a second. But do you guys, do the rest of you in the front do anything as you approach the door and see that this thing is
Just want to
alive?
make sure.
Blessed one, I do have some concerns about the
Just-
door knocker here.
Yeah, just making sure the head is very clearly not attached to a body.
No, it looks like it is like on a plaque and stuck on the door.
Yeah.
Isaac is considering to put the snoring head to sleep, but instead remembers that Clementine said about the back door and reminds the rest of the team about the back.
You can go that way if you want. I am not going in the mud.
I agree that it does look mummified. However, most mummified heads do not drool in this way.
Yeah, that thing needs to be dealt with. That is not
Jabez
okay.
is going to prod it with his sword.
You poke it with your blade, and as you do so,
Specifically, try to insert the blade between the neck where it attaches, we hope, rather than going through, where it attaches to the plaque.
Okay. You do that, and it's like the neck comes up a little bit, and you actually get a little bit of purchase under it. Like you feel that you could maybe pry it off the door if you wanted. It might take a little bit of muscling, but it could be done. And actually, as you're doing that, Clementine, you're trying to sneak around the back, so you'd have to go into the garden to get to the back door. Do you want to climb over the fence into the garden and try and sneak over to the back door?
That's what I'm willing to do. Yep.
Oh my goodness, okay. Clementine, how are you going to do this? Are you just trying to just leap the fence and jump and go as fast as you can, now that you can tell there are living plants in this? Or do you want to try and sneak to the door?
Question.
Or maybe try something else.
If I were to, I guess, could I inflate my chandelier now so that I can bounce across the garden to get to the other side?
I'm going to say aesthetically, you're bouncing across the garden, but I think I'm mechanically going to treat that as just you running across the garden, but we'll just say that you're bouncing.
Okay.
I don't think
Pogo sticking
on an inflatable. Yeah, I don't think. Oh, you know what? Actually, if you can get enough height on the pogo stick, I think on the bouncing chandelier, I think you could avoid some of the plants. That's a very good point. Elaria, I love it. Okay, clever use of chandelier. Okay. In that case, you take your inflatable chandelier and you inflate it. It inflates. It's weird. You stole it from a bouncy castle, and I'd like you to roll me an athletics check. And this is going to represent how much air you can get, how big of a jump you can get off of this chandelier. Okay. So, typically, what is your strength modifier?
It's 3.
3. Wow, you have a +3? Holy moly, you're very strong. Yeah. I guess you are a barbarian, aren't you? All right, yeah. So you could jump up to 6 feet high, normally per the rules. I'm gonna say that you can get another, let's say 3 feet off of that. So you jump up 9 feet into the air, bouncing on this inflatable chandelier. And you jump over many of the plants. However, it's very obvious what you're doing. And I'm going to say the plant has disadvantage in its attack roll against you. What's your armor class?
14.
Oh, wow. Okay. So as you're jumping through, I think it's got a +5. Yeah, it does. Yes, one of the plants that you thought was just like a big old bed of like lettuce or something, all kind of wraps up, and it's like a giant Venus flytrap trying to wrap around you, but you bloing right over it. And yeah, you land at the back door with a bit of a loud kaplunk on a little wooden platform outside, stairs up to the door. Okay, what do you want to do at the back door?
I want to walk up to it just so I can see if there's anything strange, and then go inside.
Okay, you can roll me an investigation check, and we'll come back to you in just a second, since you're taking a minute to look at the door. At the front, do you all want to do anything? You have the weird sleeping mind flayer head on the door. And it sounded like, Jabez, you were thinking of maybe like prying it off, or you can tell it's definitely actually a severed head stuck on a door.
Well, I'm glad I determined that I could. Did Bartholomew say that we were expected here?
Yeah, he said that his friend Clinton was having some trouble, was having a problem with something,
Well,
and that you were needed.
Before I destroy the door decoration, I'm going to see if there is a doorbell or less lethal looking knocker that I can access without disturbing the sleeping head.
There's a brass knocker. It's just like under the mind flayer head. The mind flayer head's mounted like above it on the door. I guess you could, in theory, try and like hold the tentacles back while you knocked on it, or if you had like
Rather than
like,
that,
mage
using
hand.
the tip of my sword, I will pull the knocker away and allow gravity to swing it back towards the door 3 times.
Okay. Yeah, and Elaria, you're just cool hanging out? Or do you have anything you wanted to add? I'm gonna not hearing anything. I don't know if we lost. No, we didn't. Coltspark, you are muted if you were asking anything there.
Yeah, Ilaria's just kind of freaked out by living mind flayer head that really, really shouldn't exist.
Are you well, my lady?
That thing needs to go.
I would tend to agree, but it would seem to be discourteous if our host has it for a reason. Let's give them a chance to respond first.
It better be a very good reason.
And,
it is not my role to judge, lady.
And yeah, Jabez, you take the point of your sword and you kind of knock the knocker a couple of times up, and it clatters with a loud crack on the door. A little louder than maybe you would expect, even from gravity, like there's some kind of magical enchantment there. And you hear a voice from inside the tower call out, "Oh, just a moment!" Coming from just somewhere inside. Clearly someone heard it. Clementine, you're in the back. You're looking at the door. It's a door. It's just a plain wooden door. There's a door handle. There doesn't seem to be anything special about it. There's a keyhole in the door.
I don't have any tools, but I'm gonna see if I can smash it, maybe with my with my chandelier.
Now, as before, I don't want to mislead you. So, you see that there's a keyhole in the door, and you see that there's a door handle. At this point, you have not tried to open the door.
Oh yeah.
Would you like to try and open the door, or do you want to just go straight to smashing? I'm cool either way. I don't want to mislead you into thinking you've already tried to open the door.
I'm gonna try to open the door.
It's unlocked. You open the door. As you do, it seems to open up into a kitchen, for lack of a better term. You can see it's a fairly long chamber. It spans most of the length of the bottom part of the tower here, maybe 20, 30 feet, 20 feet long. You see that there are long kind of countertops on the side. There's something of what looks like a big boiler in the corner, a big stove like structure, but the stove seems to be like heaving as though it's like snoring, like it's alive. You see that there are all sorts of like utensils and knives and spatulas and forks and all sorts of things hanging from underneath shelves by like little hooks. And you see a person, a man. He is dressed in a long black flowing robe that has like gold trim all in it, and it looks like there are symbols of like skulls and other, kind of evil looking dark insignia all over it. And it has a big hood, but the hood's not on. and you can see that the person's head visible. It's a young man, probably in his like early 30s. He's got like chestnut brown hair that's kind of ragged right now, and he is cutting something on a cutting board, and he's just like, "Oh, I didn't expect them so early." And you open the door, and he turns and looks at you. He's got a little bit of a goatee growing, and he's like, "Hello?" Oh my! And he kind of puts down the knife he was holding and goes to like walk toward you.
Okay, so Clementine's gonna go to the man, and I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm from
Oh, I'm so sorry. The door is on the other. Sorry. Are there others with you? Usually,
yes, they're in the front.
Oh, all right. So sorry. I'm Clint, by the way. Just a moment, please. And he kind of gestures for you to follow him into another room, which I presume you do. And I'll explain it to you in just a moment because I want to explain it with everyone. And he goes over to a door on the other side near a staircase and opens it up and opens the front door to all of you. And you all see this same thing. It's a dude. He's wearing a black flowing robe with like gold trim and filigree and stuff and beading in it. But he looks like a very friendly just person because without the hood on, doesn't look very scary. And he goes, "Hi. Oh, I'm so sorry. How long have you all been waiting out here? I didn't hear a knocker. Please."
Good morrow, my lord. I only just knocked. The wizard Bartholomew suggested that you could use some assistance.
Yes, I'd ask Bartholomew for some help. Please, come in, please. What are my manners? And he gestures for you all to come inside. And you can see, and Clementine, you're already in here, so you can tell me if you're doing anything or where you are in this room. There's a big, like, sitting room that the door seems to open into that he's gesturing for all of you to follow him into. There's a big centerpiece of the room, which appears to be a sarcophagus turned coffee table. On the far corner of the room, there's what looks like a big couch, a big leather-bound couch. It looks old and well-worn, and it has patches of leather like sewn together. But you can see that as there's all this commotion in the room, two like big eyes are opening on either of the armrests on the side of the couch, and a big old like almost like a dog tongue, but like huge, kind of flobbers out underneath the cushions, and it kind of begins to like move its little couch legs back and forth excitedly, like an excited dog. This giant animated couch. You see all over the walls. There's skull pendants, or holy symbols in the shape of like spiders with like emeralds and rubies for eyes. You see like a big ruby scepter mounted above a fireplace, which is currently not blazing, but that seems like a normal brick fireplace. But yeah, his room is just full of occult stuff, and he gestures for all of you to enter. He says, "Where are my manners? I'm so sorry. I'm Clinton Slaughtermurder. I'm a Chefromancer. Please make yourselves at home. I've been waiting for you guys to show up for a while. Actually, I need some help with something."
Clementine's actually trying to say, "I'm sorry. I used my chandelier just to cross your garden. So I'm sorry if I made a mess, but I'm also looking for a type of berry, magic berry, if you have any."
He goes, "Oh my God, you went through the garden. Are you okay?" Of course, you look fine.
Yeah.
You got to be careful about that garden. It is a dangerous place. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm a terrible host. I haven't had people in a while. Please come in. Do any of you go in, or do you all just kind of stand outside a little off-put by this very strange person?
Since I was invited in, of course I enter. I stand in a parade rest near the fireplace, looking around, and compliment the gentleman on what a personable set of furnishings he has.
Oh, yeah, no, again, I'm Clinton Slaughtermurder. I'm what we call a Chefromancer. I study the focus of bringing things that have been broken and torn asunder and bringing them back to life, putting them back together. Typically not as undead things, he says, kind of looking at you, Elaria. Rainbow Bridge?
Yeah,
Bridge,
Spectronus. Yeah, I'm not so sure they're as not undead as you think they are.
I assure you, constructs, not undead. Very big difference. Not really interested in the undead thing myself. It's too how do you put it? Such a contentious subject, you know, undeath, whether it's natural, unnatural, good or evil. I'd rather just stay nice and clear. Sentient constructs work for me. But yes, I'm so sorry. Where are my manners? Could I get any of you some tea?
I think I'm fine.
I would not dream of imposing, my lord.
Of course. Well, and he kind of looks toward you, Isaac and Clementine. Could I offer you all anything?
Well, I just asked for a berry a few minutes ago.
Oh, berry. Berry, I'm so sorry.
Berry?
Just any old magic berry?
Any berry that could give me really awesome magical powers.
Ooh, that's gonna be tough. Actually, that's kind of what I called you here about. And he walks back into the kitchen, leaving you just a moment. He walks back into the kitchen, leaving you all for a moment alone in this very strange living room. And if you want to do anything, is you're all just standing around?
Elaria is staying as far from that couch thing as possible.
The couch can kind of like tell that you're a little anxious by it, and it's like eagerly like kind of like hopping a little bit, and when it hops, it's huge, it's like a 12-foot long couch. So when it hops a little bit, the floor kind of shakes as it kind of like eagerly jumps about a little bit, looking at you like it's excited to see you. But yeah, seeing no one really having any go ahead.
I do notice that there are some religious signs and symbols about. I would like to take a better look at them. And if the couch continues hopping, I'm going to speak to it.
Okay, so do you just want to give the couch a glare like, hey, don't scare my friend?
Not so much a glare as more of a lecture.
I love it.
I understand, couch, that it is very exciting to see new people. However, you can be very intimidating. You're larger than you know, and people are less likely to approach you when you can't control yourself. Now, the god Rognan is the god of the misunderstood, and through him I can somewhat understand where you're coming from. But if you let yourself be still, you may find that you get to make more friends than if you rush forward.
I would love for you to make me either a persuasion or an animal handling check, and I'd love you to take that with advantage, which means you roll twice and use the higher of the two results, because that was a very, very good talk for that couch. All right, it's going to be a 17 plus 5, so a total of 22. The couch, its eyes, although very far apart because they're on the arm rests and they're very big eyes, kind of look toward you, and its tongue kind of lolls in the ground for a second. And it seems to almost smile with the cushions, like it understands to some degree what you just said. And it kind of almost crouches down a little bit, the big wooden legs of the couch getting close to the ground. It pulls its tongue in, and it keeps its eyes open, but it just kind of looks at you. Actually, it squints its eyes like it's keeping them closed, but peeking, and it squints toward the rest of the party and just kind of scooches a little bit closer.
Thank you, Lord Couch. I walk over and I gently stroke its arm.
It begins to purr very loudly. As
Is there a mundane looking? Is there a bookshelf that looks like very much just like a normal mundane bookshelf?
Absolutely, yeah.
Elaria is on top of it.
You're just on top of the bookshelf. I love it. Looking at the, I was going to say,
You'll have to excuse my friend. You are in many ways a rather canine personality, and as a tabaxi, she has a reaction that may not be possible for her to control.
The couch seems completely content, just getting happy pets. But as you also were looking around a little bit, Jabez, you can see that there are various holy symbols strewn about the place. Most of them seem to be connected to like evil or like darker aligning gods, some of which are like, some of them are more neutral, but they're like, you know, the god like Oril, goddess of winter, where it's like, well, you're technically neutral, but it's all the bad parts of winter, like freezing to death and crops being destroyed, and you know, the bad, yeah, it's got the very much darker connotation and context to everything. You find strange like effigies of like demon lords and things. Yeah, there's a lot of very dark looking stuff here. Clearly this person is very interested in the occult, whether or not they practice is kind of beyond that. But they quickly come back in, unless Issac or Clementine, you wanted to be doing anything.
Nope, I'm just waiting for the berry.
All right. The man walks back in, and you realize now that he's been moving around a little bit in front of you, he doesn't make footsteps when he walks. It's almost like he's gliding with the dark black cloak drooped on the ground, and you can swear it's almost like there's like a black fog or a smoke that kind of ekes out barely from under that cloak. But yeah, he kind of enters back into the room, and he's got in his hands what looks like a spell book. It's clearly a big leather-bound tome, and on one side of it, it has what looks like a big open mouth, kind of emblazoned onto it, with slightly risen, almost enamel teeth, it looks like, painted onto it. And yeah, he takes the book and he says, so this is actually what I wanted to talk to you all about, why I needed your help. And he flips it open to a page, like, you know, it's trivial for him to do so. He's done this a million times. And he waves his hand over the book and pulls from it a berry. And he says, this is my my Chefromancer tome, kind of like a wizard's spell book. I call it the Nomnomnomicon, as a you may have heard of it. It's kind of a famous item. And he takes the berry. If you want, you can have this berry, but I have no idea what it'll do. Someone has been going through my book and tampering with my magic.
I will take the berry no matter the risk I get and take.
You're just gonna eat that berry, oh my god.
Yep.
He says as you're like reaching for it, and he puts his hand on your arm. Are you sure you want to eat that right here? Please don't do it in the middle of my living room. It could explode for all I know. I have no idea.
No, I'm not gonna eat it. I'm just gonna take it for my future uses.
Yeah, I warn you, it does go bad in about 24 hours, usually. So...
Then I'm just gonna eat it.
Oh, wait, no, not right now, please. If you want to eat it at some point later, please. But not right here, right now, in the middle of my living room. Oh, boy. Anyway, I'm sorry. I need to cut to the chase. I brought you all here to go inside my spellbook and find out what's going on.
Inside the spellbook?
Oh, yes.
How?
Oh, sorry. Some minor chefromancy. All I need is, and he kind of puts it down. He puts the spellbook down on the sarcophagus, and he says, "Oh, it's still a little too high." And he knocks on the sarcophagus a little bit, and it just kind of shrinks down a little bit. to a more like waist level, and he's got the book wide open on the table. And he goes over off, going to that bookshelf that you're on, and takes a vial of ink off of it. He looks up at you and says, "Oh, the couch doesn't bite. He doesn't have teeth."
I
can tell you, I made it. Kind of looks.
And
at the couch.
Elaria will very, very slowly climb back down and keep somebody between her and the couch at all times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a fan of animated things, I see.
That one was particularly spooky.
Gotcha. It's a cat-dog thing. Anyway, yeah, so, this inkwell, and he opens up the inkwell. If I could get just a drop of each of your blood, I can draw you into the spellbook. And for about an hour, you should be able to roam around in there and figure out what's going on.
Strange.
Yeah, it's
And
a
at the
minor
end
check.
of the hour, Lord?
Oh, you'll return to your bodies here. Your bodies will physically be here through the process. It'll just be your minds and consciousness that are in the book.
You know, I've been bitten by zombies. How am I supposed to give you my tainted blood?
I'll tell you. What was your name again? I'm so sorry, I didn't catch it.
Clementine.
Clementine. Clementine, I've put a man together piece by piece who was literally devoured by ghouls. All right, a little bit of tainted blood's not going to mess with my magic.
Okay, whatever you say, I got it.
Or you'll become some crazy zombie hybrid in there, but probably not. Very low chances. There's always a chance something goes wrong with Chefromancer. Anyway, you all ready? If I could just take a drop of your blood, I'll paint you into the book. And if you can figure out what on earth is happening to my spells, it's just everything's going wonky with them. At least the spells I can't.
Is there a trend in how the wonky works that maybe can point to something?
Everything just seems a little off. I don't know. It's weird. For example, just yesterday, I was trying to conjure up some sushi because I love sushi. And when I did so, all of the fish, it made whole fish. And the fish were wrapped in seaweed. It's like a practical joke someone has made. It's very strange. It's all kind of like that. Like that berry is supposed to give you magical powers. I wouldn't be surprised if it took away all your magical powers. If you have any, I don't know. Wonder what it would do if you didn't have any magical powers. Things are just acting very strangely. You know, I've run into the common bookworm from time to time, but this does not feel like a bookworm. Bookworms just cause things to break, and then I have to fix them. They just won't work if a bookworm's been at them. This has to be something more serious.
Hey, do we have any kryptonite? Isaac needs some. Isaac needs some kryptonite.
Green rock that can remove magical powers. Do you have any before we go?
Rocks that carry magical powers. I mean, I have a couple of rocks, but they're kind of like cool rocks. I found this one in a volcano, and it kind of like pulls what looks like a piece of magma, like just hardened magma. And it goes over the shelf, and I found this one just on the beach. It's just a nice smooth looking pebble. I don't know.
I'll take it.
Would you happen to have, my lord, a pair of lodestones?
Of course, what good spellcaster doesn't have some lodestones? Yeah, I mean, I have a lodestone. Do you want that?
If it would not be too much trouble, my lord, if I could borrow 2 lodestones, it would assist me if there is something requiring a pair within the book. This is a trick that I was taught by a cleric. However, not being a good spellcaster, I am a mere fighter, I do not have any of my own.
Oh, of course, yeah. And he reaches into his robes, and he just was carrying them on him. Seems a pretty frequently used component in spellcasting. And yeah, he can give you 2 lodestones. Slightly magnetized rocks that can do some weird stuff. And he says, "Well, is there anything else I can help you all with, or can we get this going?"
That's all for me.
All right. Okay. Well, and he kind of holds out the inkwell to each of you, and as each of you give him a drop of blood into the inkwell, he takes out a quill, dabs it in the ink, and begins to draw some lines into this book. And I imagine you're all just kind of watching and observing, a little bit confused or maybe unsure of what's going on. And
Jabez did say a prayer in Celestial before piercing his thumb with a dagger and dropping the blood into the bottle.
excellent. And as you do all these things and you observe him drawing, it looks as though he's drawing little images of you. And they seem remarkably accurate, as though his hands are guided by some external magical force. And when it's done, you look, and it's just 4 really expertly drawn images of the 4 of you. And I think instinctively someone turns as if to ask, was something supposed to happen? And as this happens, well, you look behind you, and there's just nothing there. And you look back the other way, and you see your 3 companions, and then look upwards, and you see what appears to be a gigantic face looking down at you. And this booming voice echoes down. It's so loud from this tiny little state in the book. "Hey, it worked. Great. All right. I think you're all in the... Ooh, sorry. I'll try to whisper. All right. It looks like you've all been transferred into the book. I guess I will keep your bodies safe while you're in here. Again, you have a very short amount of time. I don't know how long the spell is going to work, or going to hold, rather. So please see if you can figure out what's wrong. I'm going to have to close the book because nothing seems to happen and be changing while I have it open. I imagine whoever's doing this is doing it in the dark. So good luck."
Wait, what if we get trapped?
You yell up, but you don't hear anything as he's already closing the book, and you see this huge lid coming down, like the sky is falling. But when it crashes down over you, it doesn't hurt. But it is absolutely pitch dark. And you're all just standing in this darkness. What do you all want to do?
Well, does anyone see anything?
Question, I have a dark vision, so do I see anything with my dark vision?
With your dark vision? No, you don't.
Can I
You're
use
looking around and you're not.
Can I use a danger sense? Or no? Is that only for combat?
Yeah, well, I mean, your danger sense is just kind of a constant awareness of threats and danger. And you don't feel any danger so much right now. It's just not seeing anything. And yeah, it seems like in this current state, in being magically transferred into this book, your dark vision doesn't seem to be doing anything for you here. It's just darkness. But you hear each other.
Does anybody
someone
happen to have a
shuffle
torch?
Yes, I do have a torch.
Yeah, I have it.
I don't necessarily think that's the best idea. I mean, remember, we're in a book. Books tend to be lightly flammable.
But we tend not to be made of ink. I believe that we are now concepts in a book, and the paper and the flammability is not a concept. But by your wish, Jabez is going to say a brief prayer in Celestial for light, which is for him the verbal component of prestidigitation, creating a shower of sparks to give some sense of light to the area.
I love it. There's like a flicker of light, and yeah, you all see each other, and to each other, you seem like perfectly normal. You see the sparks of light, are they like various colors, or are they just white?
They are the sorts of sparks that adorn the holiday tree in the middle of the winter season. So usually they're cast on, say, a pine tree in the depths of winter to give sparkle to its branches. They remain lit for up to an hour at a time. So we basically have these holiday light around us.
Yeah, I love it. So Jabez, you cast this spell, and these flickering lights appear around you, and yeah, in a very pleasant way, illuminate the area you're in. And as you're looking around, you see nothing. I mean, you see each other in this dim light, but you don't see any physical objects, standing up or anything. Like there's no furniture, there's no anything else. The ground is this strange, almost parchment color.
Is it like 3-dimensional?
The ground?
Like a...
You're 3-dimensional. The ground seems to be flat.
Do we see anything other than ourselves?
I think barely in the distance, in this fleck of light. Yeah, you see what looks like a disturbance in the ground, right? Like there's this, most of it is this vellum color. But as you kind of look closer and begin to approach this strange difference, it appears to be a letter just on the ground. And it looks like the letter A.
This is... I mean, I guess it makes sense. We're in a book, after all.
And yeah, it just seems like it's part of the ground. Like it doesn't stick up at all. It's perfectly smooth with the ground.
Are there any other letters nearby?
Yeah, you follow it over, and there's another letter some distance away. It's not right next to the A, but there's a definite gap, and it's the letter P. And then as you're getting closer to that, next to that, there's an I, and then an N, and then a C, and an H, and it's a pinch, and then there's another space, it seems, and then there's more letters.
I guess it makes sense for that to sound kind of like a recipe, but
Are there
I'll ask.
similar marks on the ceiling?
Looking up, I don't think you can see up right now. It just seems dark. But you also were on the cover page of the book, so, or on the first page because he had just opened it up.
Can we travel across pages?
Yeah, so you start to like follow the I guess the letters right to the end of presumably the page. And
My lord, milady, I think we may do better if we are traveling in the other direction towards the spine. If there is a problem bound into the book, it is more likely to be at the spine, which will not be following it from left to right as we read in common, but the other direction.
To see if anything's wrong with the spine. I see. Yeah, I'll take your suggestion.
For all pages,
Do we want to just make sure that... maybe we should get to the edge of the page, just make sure that there's nothing that's clear. Oh, wait, we need to go this far from there, and then we can go back to the spine. Just let's make sure that we don't see any issues that way, especially since we already seem to be going this direction.
Of course, I will defer to your judgment.
And Elaria, it's interesting that you make that decision and you start to go that way, because you follow that sentence, or seemingly it's an ingredient on a list, and you can see where it probably once read a pinch of spice, but it's been changed. You see there's a letter I that is not flat in the page. It looks like it's been pried up out of the page and torn in half and just lies asunder as a strange, almost like a torn up piece of paper on the ground. And you can see where there was the I in the letter spice. It looks like two other letters have been jammed onto the ground halfway on top of each other, and it reads a pinch of spruce.
Do any of you know what you might use a pinch of spruce for? That doesn't make sense.
No, generally one uses juniper, not spruce.
I think we found a tampering.
Indeed, but from which source?
Do you want to look around it? You want to investigate the area?
Yeah, I think we should probably try to investigate the area. Let's see what we can see about it.
What are you looking for in particular? Just
signs
feeling
of
around, seeing what's different, or
yes, what's different, and are there any signs of what may have done this?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
While they're doing that, I'm going to specifically look at how the letters were connected to the book and how these jammed in letters are connected.
I like it. Okay. Could you give me an investigation check then, Jabez? And Elaria, could you give me just a perception check as you're searching the area that way? And then
Jabez,
Isaac,
you may also take a guidance.
ooh. And what does guidance do for those who may not be aware?
You may roll a d4 and add it to the ability check.
Excellent. And Clementine and Isaac, are you two doing anything to investigate the area?
Clementine's gonna see if there are any pictures on the actual cookbook itself. Because she knows that cookbooks actually have pictures and not just words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you absolutely would find what looks like a picture down in the bottom right corner. And you can see, or at least it would have been a picture, but as you're kind of getting close to it, you can see it has a nice kind of filigree. It would be a nice box with filigree and decoration around it, and then the picture would be inside. Clearly, would be inked in black and white. But you see that the picture is all torn out. It looks like there's a big just hole in the ground where the picture would be. And looking through that picture, you can see some distance down. It doesn't seem like super far, the next page. But looking around, let's see, Elaria, you rolled a 10 on your perception. You're looking around for signs of what could have done this, and you're seeing not a lot. There's some dampness to the ground that is strange for a book, but oh no, Jabez, you rolled a natural 1, unfortunately, on your investigation to look at how.
I have no idea what's going on here.
Yeah, you're looking at it, and it's kind of it hurts to like look at directly how these letters are jammed in, because clearly they don't belong. But you try and like get underneath them like you did with the Mind Flayer head to pry it up, and you can't pick them up. It's really weird. You have no idea what could have done this, or how it could have been that way. And if you look at the torn up letter I, it's just like you're holding two halves of a piece of paper that are shaped like the letter I. It feels like paper, probably because it is paper.
I would like
Lady,
to
this
put...
exceeds my wisdom. Can any of you divine what has happened here?
I'd like to take the two halves of the eye and try to like stick them together and put them back into place.
All right, I'd like you to roll me an Arcana check as you try and do so. So you're looking at this and you're like, oh boy, how does this work? And you're getting like, there's some kind of magical something that goes into this, but you're just really not too sure. You don't have any experience with Chefromancer. Forget about arcane magic just at all. And so you cast your guidance cantrip and you whisper maybe a little prayer to your god, and you try and stick this letter in there, and you see it does stick to the page, and you're like, excellent. And then you have no idea how to get the R or the U up, so now it's a pinch of spruce. It has now all three of the letters.
Well, at least that's slightly less bad, because it doesn't make any sense.
You're looking at it confused. Clementine, you're looking through the hole in the page where the picture should be, right?
Yep.
You see something move down on the next page. It's hard to see in the darkness because it is pitch dark down there still. You can somehow tell the other page. Maybe it's the faint glimmer of the sparkles in the distance where Jabez is, but there's some sort of movement that you can discern on the page below.
I'm gonna go back to my companions and I'm gonna say, hey guys, there's something moving down on the bottom of the page. Can you guys come here and maybe this might help us decipher what's happening?
By your will, my
That's
lady,
probably a good
I am
idea.
doing no good here.
Yeah, the four of you gather at the edge of where this big hole in the page is, and you look down. You don't see the movement anymore.
How far down does it look like it is?
Space is really weird in this kind of strange. You feel like you could step from this page into that page through this hole.
You said you saw something? Perhaps we should go down there and take a little closer look?
Yeah, I did. There is something moving down there.
Oh. Let's go, I guess. And Elaria, before she has an opportunity to change her mind, will step through the page.
Are you trying to move stealthily, or are you just moving through, just walking it? Maybe defensively.
Yeah, more defensively than stealthily.
Okay. The rest of you, are you trying to move like quietly and stealthily as a group, or are you assuming that whatever is down there has seen you, and instead you're just trying to move defensively down there? It's kind of a group question, really. As a group, how do you want to move?
I always think we should go stealthily instead of defensively, just to make sure that, you know, we are in position before we do anything.
Jabez tends towards being defensive, and especially with the cleric having set that example, it would take specific instructions for him to move otherwise.
All right. Isaac, are you trying to be kind of stealthful about it?
Isaac does follows the majority of the group.
All right, so it looks like you guys are just kind of moving kind of defensively down there. So you move down into this next page, and you see like a page number in the bottom corner. As you move into the page, it reads 2. And as you look around down here, there doesn't seem to be anything. Like you don't see any obvious 3-dimensional shapes like you just saw, Clementine.
Honored colleagues, I am somewhat disturbed by the number 2 here. In my experience with books, if we were on page 1 and we stepped down, we should be on page 3 with 2 as the ceiling. This is not behaving as I would expect.
Space is, I guess, all wibbly in here.
I will defer to your judgment.
What do you all want to do? You're not seeing anything.
I'd like to. So, looking up, do I see the hole, or do I now seem to see
Well, there's
what
a hole
would
right
be
in front of you.
Okay, so
You just
hole
stepped
right in
out
front
a
of me.
hole. The hole in front of you.
Looking up, it's too dark to really see much up.
Yeah, it's all darkness above.
Okay. Oh dear.
Unless you had like a very big light, like a daylight spell or something, it'd be pretty hard to see too far above you. I suppose you could cast light or do light on like an arrow or something and shoot it up, but you'd have to like do something to actively see farther up. Again, it's very weird and dark.
It is. Should we look around and see if there are anything that might get us further along? I don't see any movement right now, but again, still kind of dark. Even for me.
Apologies, I have done as much as I can.
So you start to look around a little bit more. It seems that was your kind of plan, Elaria. And as you're looking around, you see on this page there are more signs of tampering. Things that just aren't right. For example, one of the instructions of the page reads, stir for 15 minutes, but you can see there's a 0 stuck at the end, so it's stir for 150 minutes. And just things like that have clearly been tampered with throughout the book, or at least on this page.
And you did say, Clementine, that you saw something moving here?
I did. I don't know what's happening now. I don't
maybe
see
we
anything
should.
moving.
Yeah, maybe we should look to see if we can find maybe some way up or down, and maybe we start to head back towards the spine on this page.
All right.
Jabez remains in favor of moving towards the spine.
So you make your way over to the spine, and as you kind of get over to it, there's a strange sense of like a vertigo as the ceiling starts to like become visible. And as you get to the far side of that page where you would be approaching the spine, you see a wall ahead of you. It's a dull kind of brown, like the leather of the tome. And you see these huge, almost stitching along the side. And as you kind of get over toward the spine, looking down or looking over, it appears you've approached the spine of the book. Do you want to like look up and down the page and see what you can find over here?
Yeah, that I think would be good. Like, especially with the stitching, does it seem like there's a way in? Like, maybe the stitching can let us go up and down the book?
You don't see anything at first, but after, again, actually a kind of a long walking around in here, these pages seem way larger than you would have thought looking at them from the outside. But yeah, as you're walking along the spine, Clementine, you see, I think all of you see some sort of movement just in the periphery of your vision, and you see a strange looking sight kind of welling up in the darkness before you. There appears to be some sort of very large creature. It's three-dimensional like you are, and it seems to be at the bottom left corner of the page. And it seems to be moving around. Clementine, you think this is the shape that you saw. Now, let me check what its perception is to see if it knows you're there. Because you are not being stealthy. Okay. Yeah, so you see this large kind of looming shape kind of beginning to well up in the distance ahead of you, and you see it starting to move toward you in the darkness. What do you all want to do? Is your reaction as a group to flee from this or to fight it?
Lara is gonna kind of look around and look to the rest of the party.
I will stand in front of the cleric and watch as it approaches, trying to judge its intent.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna ready my berry just in case. I don't know what it's gonna do, but just to throw it in its mouth.
All right. In that case, I'd like all of you to roll for initiative as this very large shape kind of emerges out of the darkness before you. It looks like a giant worm of sorts. And you realize this is probably one of the bookworms that Clinton Slaughtermurder had mentioned when you went into the book. And so I'd like everyone to roll me initiative as you are set upon by the bookworm.
Angst,
Right.
So on your character sheet, if you click on what you've been asked to roll, it'll roll in that box like the rest of us have been rolling.
Yep. It's okay if you want to roll it manually, though. It's not like a problem for how we're doing it. Oh,
Just wanted to let you know how that worked. So it can be a little bit of a secret.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar.
Isaac and all right, let me roll for the worm.
Sadly, I can't give you that on initiative rolls.
Actually, I think you can. It is an ability check. If you're aware,
really?
if you wanted to have used your preparation,
No.
because you guys had that little bit of time while you saw it approaching. Would you like to have used your guidance on
No,
initiative?
that's fine. I will know that for some other time.
Yeah, no problem.
While we are waiting, I will speak to them about the importance of what we're doing, using basically oratorical skills for an inspiration.
Oh, are you a bard, Jabez? You are a bard.
I'm merely a knight.
Of course. But your oratory is enough to inspire. Who would you like to inspire? Jabez, who would you like to have inspired?
A moment while I double check who's here.
Yeah, no problem. You can take it whenever you'd like. Or just let me know whenever you want. It's not a huge deal.
Probably Lord Yunot.
Excellent. So, Isaac, you have an inspiration, or it's a bardic inspiration, which lets you add a die to one of your rolls whenever you're going to make it. Be an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw. All right, Clementine, you are the first to go. What would you like to do?
Well, I'm assuming my barrier is.
You want to pop
ready.
that berry? Okay,
Yes.
we'll say that as a ready to action. You plop the berry. Do you run toward it and pop the berry in your mouth, or do you just right in the middle of all your friends pop that berry in your mouth and chomp down?
No, not me. I'm not putting it in my mouth. I'm putting it in the
Throw it into the bookworm?
Yes.
Okay, you run forward and just hurl the roll me an athletics check, I'm gonna say. That represents you like running up, you're jumping on this. This is a pretty large creature. Yeah, it's just a big worm. Oh no. Well, the worm's not very good. So you actually succeed with your 9. You run over and you jump on the worm and you take your ring, you throw it in its mouth. And I'd like you to roll me a D100. And I'll tell you what happens with this berry. 80. Oh, that's a really good roll. Let's see what this one is. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's see. Oh no, I lost it. Crap. Here we go. 80. I'm sorry, it's a D150, not a D100.
Oh, okay.
I messed up there. I was looking at the wrong. I forgot my table was wild. No, the number doesn't make it better.
Okay.
Oh my god! Okay, so you take the berry, you jam it in its mouth, and you see the worm like writhe and wriggle for a second, and then shrink. And it is now half its normal size. It is now not a large worm, not like a horse-sized worm. It is now a person-sized worm, which is still terrifying, but much less so. And can you also roll me a D4, and that will determine how long that lasts. Oh, nice. That's the good roll. All right, you shrunk the worm for 4 turns.
Nice.
All right. So Clementine, that was your action. Is there anything else you want to do?
How close am I to it?
You have to run right up to it to do that.
Oh crap. I'm just gonna run back.
You're gonna run. The worm is like befuddled, but it will attempt to bite you as you run away from it. Blah. It rolls a 9 to hit, so it misses you.
Yay. Okay.
It also can't swallow you anymore. You're too big for it now that it's shrunken, which is hilarious. Which was its core thing, was eating people. All right. So Clementine, you run away. Elaria, it's your move. There's this much less terrifying bookworm in front of you.
Yeah, I'm going to pull out my crossbow and shoot it.
Okay.
I think that probably doesn't work.
It unfortunately does not. Your crossbow bolt goes wide, missing the bookworm. Is there anything you would like to do?
Nope. Don't have any bonus action, anything right now.
Okay. So what is the order of the characters? We have, who's up in front?
So I'm kind of confused because I put the orders. At first I put Clementine, Elaria, Bookworm, Jabez, and Issac, but then
Did
Jabez
I?
Well, I think I messed up. So it's Jabez, then it's Bookworm, then. Because Jabez is apparently
9 minus 1
Yeah, no,
would
you're
make
right.
8.
Thank you so much. I goof sometimes and miss that. All right, so Jabez, it's actually your moves before the worm. What would you like to do?
I would like to hit it with my sharp, pointy stick.
All
Also
right, you
called
run up to
sword.
it. You run up with your sword. Go ahead and make your attack against it.
Sincere apologies. I need instructions on what I'm clicking to do that.
Don't even
So-
worry about it. Let's see. Let me look at the character really quick. Jabez. All right. So see where you have the word longsword under attacks and spellcasting, kind of in the middle of the character sheet. You're gonna want to
Yes,
click.
thank you.
Yeah, you're going to want to click on the second one because I think you're using this two-handed, right? Because you don't have a shield.
I
or
am at
anything
the
in your-
moment.
Yep. So go ahead and roll the second one. Oh, excellent. See, that's a very good roll. So now that you've hit, because you rolled a 19 on the roll, you're going to want to click on the word longsword two-handed in the chat menu, and that will bring up the damage you've dealt with it. 2 slashing, minimum roll on the damage, but a hit is a hit. As you slash.
Apologies, I am not a very good knight.
Hey, any hit is a good hit. Especially at these lower levels, any hit is a good hit. But yeah, you run up and slash with the sword, and you slash into the bookworm, and your sword cleaves right through it, like paper, actually. But the worm doesn't seem particularly fazed by the attack, despite the fact that it now has this big slice in it that's flapping almost in the breeze. Yeah, it still seems to be just looking around, opening this big circular jaw toward you threateningly. Would you like to stay next to it, Jabez, or do you want to kind of book it away from this worm and hide behind some of your friends?
Where's Elaria?
Ilaria's towards the. Yeah, Ilaria's.
You were in the back already, right?
Yeah, Ilaria was already in the back.
So Ilaria's probably about 10 or 15 feet back.
Back off approximately 8 to 13 feet, keeping myself between the cleric and the monster as is proper.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're staying further back. Be like, don't hit me, but if you're gonna hit the cleric, hit me instead of the cleric. I gotcha. And I love that you tell me like you're trying to position yourself in front of the cleric, but still further back, because that's good to know. Since we're theater of the mind here in DnDTime, it's good to know like the intent of what you're going for.
Also, if I were any further forward, it would be easier to dodge around me and get to her.
That's true. All right. The worm will go now. The worm will rocket forward, and it moves almost like a snake. It moves very quickly through this page, and you see it like slither up toward you. And it is going to make an attack against Issac. You're the only one who hasn't gone, so you're so you're still kind of in the front. So it's going to go against you. It tries to bite at you twice. What is the armor class it has to hit, Issac?
15.
Alrighty. It rolls an 11 on its first attack, but then it makes a second bite attack against you and only rolls a 9. So you are able to deftly dodge both of its strikes. And that's all the worm does, is it rears up, and its maw like opens in a circular pattern as if to consume you whole. Albeit now it's too small to do that. And Issac, it's your turn. What would you like to do? Don't forget you have inspiration if you'd like to use it.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it, and I'm gonna try to put it to sleep.
Well, I'll tell you, you think you'd have to roll really well to put it to sleep. This is a pretty healthy-looking creature right now. But you could try it. I'm not going to tell you you can't.
I don't really have much of options.
Yeah. Typically you want to soften it up a little bit before you put him to sleep. But maybe...
Okay. Let me just see. Maybe, actually, I have a better idea. I'm gonna use my Ray of Frost.
All right. A 14 will absolutely hit him. You blast it with your Ray of Frost. And nice. 7 gold. That's a good roll. All right. The icy Ray of Frost washes over the worm and kind of slows it down pretty dramatically. Its movement speed seems to be pretty hindered from that. Is there anything else you'd like to do, Issac? You want to stay near, or do you want to run?
Well, if I run, I'm assuming it's gonna provide an attack of opportunity, so it's probably better for me to stay. Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. So, Clementine, we move up to you. Issac is up in its grill, blasting it with frost. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna I'm gonna go in with my chandelier. Assuming it's still inflatable.
It is still inflated if you want it to be, sure.
Okay.
So you are a barbarian. All right. And is this the frost chandelier or just this is the inflatable chandelier?
No, that's the inflatable one.
Okay, go ahead and move the as you bludgeon this creature with your chandelier. All right. And you are a barbarian, right?
Yeah.
Clementine? Are you raging?
No, not currently.
Okay. Keeping calm for this one.
Yep, that's actually
love
my bonus action. That's what I'm gonna take as my bonus action.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna rage after.
Yep.
Gotcha. Well, because you rage, you'll actually do an extra 2 points of damage for that. Because that's the thing. Barbarians, they get an extra 2 damage on their rage. So I'll just add that 2 on, and
Okay.
so you run up and smash it with this inflatable chandelier, and do you let out like a ah, or how does this go?
Yeah, I'm just going with my balloon chandelier.
And you
I'm just
bonk.
gonna go smack it on its head.
Okay. I love it. Elaria, it's your move. The bookworm seems definitely more injured now.
Yeah, I'm gonna take one of my hands free of my crossbow, and then I'm going to ring the bookworm's bell.
Oh, you ring the Toll the Dead, the very strong cantrip against a very unwise worm. All right, you let
That would
loose
be
this-
9.
Yeah, and is it like the toll of a grave bell or something?
Yes.
Excellent. It rings out, and you see the worm like writhe and almost shiver in pain from the bell.
Your time
right.
is coming.
Excellent. Jabez, what would you like to do?
Talking's a free action, right?
Of course, you can talk for free.
Blessed One, it seems to me as if the bit dangling from the worm there is papery. You have more experience in magic than I. Do you think that this spell I was taught that will light a campfire would be effective here, or do you have a guide for me, Blessed One?
Don't think that... I think that only works on objects, not creatures. Once it's dead, it'll be probably burned perfectly, but I'm not so sure it'll work right now.
Would you like to try
Thank
it?
you so much. With the counsel of the cleric against it, no, I'm going to walk back over to it and poke it with a sword again.
Alrighty, go ahead.
Because
and
I
swing
may
this.
be a not very good knight, but darn it, that's what knights do.
Absolutely. And once again, you'll make contact with this worm, slashing it. Oh, not a very good night. Yeah, right. You make a meaty hit, slashing right down through the worm. You see at this point, you almost sever it from end to end, and now it's just flapping all over the place. It's still alive, but it is grievously injured. Man, them's the dice. That's the max damage now. All right.
Even a stopped clock is correct twice a day.
The bookworm is flipping out. Still has so many turns to be shrunk. It will make a bite attack against the 2 people, or there are 3 people right up toward it right now. So it's going to roll a d3 to see who it goes for. All right, we're going to have 1. Oh, sorry, I only needed 2 of those. So player 1 and player 2, which is, oh no, Jabez and Issac. The worm tries to bite down at you, Jabez, angry at your assault upon it. It only
I
rolls a
don't blame
9,
it, to
though.
be fair. Does it help if my armor class is 10?
It means it doesn't hit you. So yes, it definitely helps. And then
I'm sympathetic to it, but cannot really regret.
You understand the feeling, but you're glad it worked out this way. And then the second attack is going to go after Issac, and it will roll a 12. Oh my goodness, what a poor roll for this worm. I assume that doesn't hit you, Issac, does it?
Yeah, I have 15. Armor
All
class.
right. So the worm bites twice, but misses both times. And Issac, it's your move, and you're looking at this worm. You could put him to sleep now if you wanted, or you might be able to just finish him off.
Okay, so the last game I bought the ash wooden sword. I'm curious if I can use it now.
The what?
The sword I got the last game. The wooden
Uh-huh.
sword.
Yeah, you have a right. You got a wooden sword last game, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to swing your wooden sword at it, you can swing a wooden sword at it.
Yeah, except just a second, I don't have it on my character sheet, so just
Okay, you can just hit on your character sheet. If you just hit dexterity or strength, you can use either of those to attack with it.
oh, okay.
And that'll be your attack roll. All right. So unfortunately, that swing is not quite gonna hit. It's flapping all over the place, and the swing of the sword is just not quite quick enough to make contact.
I don't really have any bonus actions, so that's it for me.
Okay. All right. At the top of the turn, Clementine, it would be your turn, but instead, you all hear a voice kind of echoing out, and it says, "What's going on up there?" And looking past the worm, you can see there's a big hole, like down through the whole spine. This worm had burrowed, and you see this strange-looking creature poke its head up. It's got this kind of grayish purple skin, and it seems just very, very damp. It's got a very big head that's way too big for its body, and long, spindly, or long for its size, spindly arms. But it's a fairly small, compact creature in total. I think, can all of you roll me nature checks? Or Arcana checks, you can pick which. And I'll tell you guys if any of you recognize this creature. Ooh. All right. So I can tell you, Issac and Jabez, both of you have either heard of or recognized this creature. This is a boggle. They're curious little prankster creatures. They usually appear in places where people are like very lonely or something along those lines, but they can appear pretty much anywhere. They're fey beings, and it looks like there's one of them in the book with you. And it seems to be peeking out of the hole that the bookworm had been burrowing through the spine. And that is at the beginning of the round. You all see the boggle, and the boggle sees all you and goes, "Ow!" And Clementine, it's your move. What would you like to do?
The Fae is not friendly, is it?
The boggle isn't like a malicious creature. It's a very neutral creature, but it's kind of a prankster, right? It's kind of just mean, just a little bit mean, but in a fun way.
I don't know if I'm allowed to do this in DnDTime, but try to get myself that the boggle and actually keep it with me.
You want to try and capture the boggle?
Yes.
If you capture the boggle, if you guys capture the boggle and you're like, I want to just keep him, you can, but canonically you will not have him in future adventures. Your character can have them as like a pet back at their house, but not
Okay,
in their
never mind.
adventures. Okay.
I'm gonna go for, I guess, my rapier then.
Okay, there's still the bookworm. It's still kicking in front of you, and it's kind of between you and the boggle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go towards the bookworm.
Okay. You take a step toward the bookworm and swing with your rapier. Ooh, and what a mighty slash. Go ahead and roll me your damage. And with that, you finish off the bookworm. A slash or a stab of your rapier. Either way, it pierces through the worm, and the worm begins to writhe and twist. And then as you pull back, it's like slicing a piece of paper. It slashes in half and falls just a few shredded bits in front of you. The bookworm seems defeated. And the boggle goes, uh-oh. And kind of begins to duck down to run away. Do you want to move at all, Clementine?
Yeah, I'm gonna go where the boggle's going.
You run over to the boggle and you look down the spine, and it just seems like an almost endless hole with all sorts of pages below you. Like you could go to any page in the book through this hole the bookworm has burrowed in the spine.
Oh, Jesus.
But the boggle's still right up there, like where you are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he hasn't moved yet. But you've also already used your action this turn.
Can I talk to it?
Sure, what do you want to say to the boggle?
I'm gonna say, we're from Bartholomew's adventuring party. Is there, what's going on with this cookbook? I see that we have missing letters and letters being jumbled and missing numbers and
The boggle. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it wasn't me. And it looks at you like, oh no.
Are you sure?
Yes. All right, Jabez, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
Is my nature check good enough to know what gender boggle I'm dealing with?
I don't know if boggles have sex or gender. They are a fabian.
Jeremy?
Yeah?
What happened to me?
Oh my god, did I skip your turn, Elaria?
Yes, you did.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm still going to answer your question, Jabez. I don't think boggles have any sort of sex or gender. They may have certain characteristics or assume certain characteristics of the human concept of gender, but they don't naturally.
Okay, non-binary boggle. Got it.
Precisely. But yes, I apologize because Elaria, you are first. Sorry, you're second, but it's your turn.
And I'm going to move towards the boggle, and I am going to use a cantrip here, and I'm going to use thaumaturgy to make my voice boom 3 times as loud as normal, and tell this boggle, Lord Spectronus commands you to stay right there.
Ooh. I love it. And this is just trying to intimidate the boggle?
Yes.
Okay, can you roll me an intimidation check? I'm going to contest this by the boggle. The boggle is a pretty free-spirited creature, so I'm going to give it advantage on this check to contest you, but we'll see how you roll.
Even with the normal, even with the thaumaturgy, making my voice a whole lot louder?
I'm giving you a chance because of the thaumaturgy.
Okay.
Typically, yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's see how we do. Yeah. Even without the advantage, the boggle looks up like, oh no, I gotta go. I'm missing a play on the 5th page. See ya. The boggle looks like he's gonna go run. They're gonna go run. It's gonna go at the boggle. Boggle's gonna run away. It does not seem your intimidation has really shaken the boggle very much. Would you like to move at all, Elaria? Or are you gonna stay
Well,
where
I moved closer to the boggle as part of it.
Okay, cool. Jabez, it's now your move. What would you like to do?
I am going to talk to the boggle because talking is what I do.
Sure.
I'm not a great knight. I talk a lot.
Okay.
Thay1, if you please, I'd like to discuss what you've done here. It's really fascinating, the work that I've seen. I was looking on the 1st page at what you were doing, and I am completely boggled at how you managed to insert those extra letters. It was fine workmanship.
I like this. So what's your goal here? Just to convince the boggle not to run away?
That's the first step. It's really hard to persuade them of anything if they're in the process of fleeing.
That's true.
If
Go
I
ahead and
can
roll.
get their interest, then we have common ground on which to have a conversation.
Yeah, I like that. Roll me a persuasion check. It's gonna be a normal persuasion check, no disadvantage or anything. Oh my goodness! And I was gonna say that's a perfect roll for that. The boggle is like piqued your interest, piqued by what you're saying. It's like, yeah, it's pretty funny, isn't it? Everyone's gonna conjure a stump. And the Boggle seems very excited that you're interested in what the Boggle's doing here. So you seem to have caught its attention. It's the Boggle's turn. So the Boggle would have gone on the Bookworm's turn. The Boggle is still a little like anxious about everyone else, but they don't run away. They do kind of like put up a little bit of a defensive, like they take the dodge action, right? They're protective, but they're like, go on, as if looking for praise. And then Issac, it's your turn now. What would you like to do?
I'm not even sure right now. Where is everybody positioned from me right now?
So, I think the idea here is the Elaria and Clementine are near the big hole in the spine that goes to all the pages. The Boggle is like on the edge of the hole, like ready to flee, and Jabez is kind of like somewhere between where you are and you're a little bit further away where the bookworm was, and Jabez is halfway between you and the Boggle, right? Like talking to it, trying to talk it down a little.
Okay, can I try to put Boggle to sleep?
It's a fey creature, and you know that fey creatures can be some of them you can put to sleep, some of them you can't. It's a gamble. If you'd like to do it, you absolutely can try. And like I said, it's literally like a 50-50. Half of them are like immune to sleep, half of them conk right out.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
You're gonna try it? All right, go ahead and roll me your sleep as you conjure forth your magic. 15 hit points. So the first question I have is for all of you guys around the pit, which are Clementine and Elaria. How many hit points do each of you have?
32.
Exactly
Oh, wow.
15.
Oh my god, you have so many hit points. Well, exactly 15. So you feel this like sleepiness well in your eyes, second Elaria, or Elaria, and then you blink a little bit and you look down and there's a Boggle at your feet just like slumped on the table, just drooling. As the Boggle appears to have rudely fallen asleep while he was in the middle of talking to you, Jabez. What a rude Boggle. It appears that your magic has completely worked, Issac. The Boggle is snoozing. And what would you like to do? What do you want? I guess we're kind of out of initiative now, I assume. There's a sleeping Boggle in front of you. What's your move?
I don't have any bonus action, so... But I'm...
Yeah, I mean, we're out of initiative at this point. The Boggle's unconscious for a whole minute. He's asleep. Oh,
Yeah,
they're asleep.
I had a great word to my character sheet. I just want to try it, so don't count that at all.
Okay, but you're not actually attacking the Boggle. You're just swinging it around triumphantly.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
Clementine's very, very curious, just to see if it's actually asleep. So I'm just gonna hit it on its head with my chandelier.
Are you trying to damage? Are you trying to damage it, or?
No, just gently.
All right, yeah, you pop it a couple of times, like poke it. Yeah, he's asleep, and this Boggle is just down for the count, like full tongue lolling out, just drooling. And it is weird looking because the Boggle is a small creature, but it has like it's kind of like how a puppy has a really big head and really big feet. The Boggle has really big feet and hands and head, but very small body and spindly arms and legs and stuff. And you can also see the Boggle is just like very damp. It seems like it's just covered in this almost oily substance that kind of sticks to your fingers a little bit or sticks to your chandelier as you poke it. But yeah, with the boggle unconscious, what do you all want to do? This seems to be the prankster that you guys came in here to find.
If you will be guided by me, colleagues, I would suggest that we take this time to reposition so we have a more comfortable conversation with the boggle. Perhaps our barbarian can hang out near this hole to make it more likely that the boggle will stay and speak with us. But I think that the most favorable resolution might be to find the boggle a more comfortable home in a book they can rearrange to the delight of everybody, rather than one that is a magical tome and therefore will be putting up some resistance.
Yeah, one thing I think the two of you who rolled well on boggles, Issac and Jabez, both of you know boggles aren't supposed to like be in tomes. This isn't like a thing that normally happens. He's probably stuck in here. The boggle probably got trapped in here somehow. Because boggles typically like to be in places with people, and being trapped in a book is just not a good place for a boggle. Clearly they're making the best of it by pulling some pranks, but
now are they really making the best of it, or are they doing their best to call attention to themselves, like somebody treading letters in sand on a beach when they're lost?
I mean, who knows?
Are they actually trying to cause trouble, or is this a call for help? Because if we have the opportunity to help people who are different from us, we should do so to the greatest extent possible.
So, do you want to tie up the boggle or something so that you guys can bring it out of here, or do you want to try and get Clint's attention? I mean, with your thaumaturgy, you think you might be able to get his attention. You might be loud enough.
Yeah. Before I do that, though, I'm going to take out my blanket and just wrap the boggle up and then secure the boggle so that the boggle is very, very tightly snugged up in the blanket and not really able to go
gently
anywhere.
But secure.
I will add the expertise that I gained when my youngest siblings were born, because swaddling is a standard method to contain a young infant so that it doesn't roll into the fire or something silly like that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I'll say this is a very optimal way of securing a boggle. Between the two of you, one Jabez with proven expertise and experience, and Elaria with the idea and the blanket, you're able to wrap up this boggle and secure it quite handily. After
and
a
comfortably,
time,
that's important.
Yes, exactly. After a time, you're able to get the attention of Clinton, or maybe the spell just runs out. But eventually he opens up the book and you see the huge figure. It's like, oh, what do you have there?
If nobody objects, I'm going to hold the boggle in my arms because it is small enough to do that, and it's swaddled.
Mm-hmm.
And that way we won't leave it behind if we.
I think we found what was causing the issues.
Oh, excellent. And you see a giant quill stab down toward you, and it's terrifying. But as it hits you, you just wake up in your own bodies, not in the book. And you see him jab at the page one after another, and each of you wake up one after another. And then he goes, all right. And when you wake up, you don't have the boggle. And then he says, and the last one. And as he pokes the page, suddenly a boggle swaddled in blankets just bloop, comes out of the book and appears on the table in front of you. So, it was a boggle.
I will retrieve the boggle if nobody interferes.
Yeah, you're easily able to, Jabez. And,
okay, so I'm going to hold the boggle and go back to petting the sofa.
Okay. And Clinton looks at you and says, well, thanks. I guess that's a weird problem to have, boggles in a book. Well, thank you all for going in and getting him. If you want, I can get you some really nice tea now. I can get you a magic berry.
Yes, I want a magic berry.
Pulls the berry out.
My lord, with all respect, you might want to proofread the book first, because we did find some errors in it.
Oh, I wouldn't eat that berry if I were you. And he says,
Well,
well,
Yeah, I think something calls for a pinch of spruce right now. So,
oh no,
voice,
even on the first page? That's the spell I
even
used to
on the
conjure
first
that berry.
page. Even on the
And-
first page.
He looks, he says, well, thank you all very much for your help. And he turns to each of you and hands each of you your 100 Bartholomew bucks, your requisite payment for this adventure. You gain 1 point of experience, which means if you were level 1, which I know, Jabez, you were level 1, you are now level 2. A very successful adventure. Clinton offers for you all to stay and have some food and all of that, but this is where we, as a game, kind of fade out as the adventure has come to its conclusion. Thank you very much for playing, everyone.
Thank you so much
As you-
for hosting.
Oh, absolutely, it was my pleasure. Would any of you like to do anything at the shop right now?
Yeah,
Oh,
I would.
very well. After some indeterminate amount of time hanging out with Clinton, you return to Bartholomew's shop, as every good adventurer does. Pete? Oh, Pete's not here.
Oh.
Pete, you're in the shop now.
Greetings, adventurers. Welcome back. I trust that everything went well with Master Slaughtermurder.
Yeah, I mean, we found a boggle in a book.
Sounds like a successful endeavor. So, to begin, can I get anything for any of you?
Yeah, I would like to pull the bag.
We can certainly do such a thing. Let me take a look here. Bartholomew pulls out his big bag and offers it towards you. Go ahead and roll me a D1000. And as I always say, I wish you the absolute best of luck. 567. Let us see what lies within. All right. Your hand passes over as you reach it into the bag. First, a vial. It's a potion. The liquid inside, you can tell it moves very slowly, almost molasses-like, as you're kind of, tilting it back and forth. You're not really interested in that. A lot of strange recipes today. You don't need to try your hands with anything else. Next, something very heavy. You can't even lift it, and as you try and pull it out, your hand just ends up kind of getting loosed from it. Instead, what you end up grabbing out is a weapon. And as you pull it out, it appears to be a scimitar. It's platinum, and it has a golden hilt upon it. And Bartholomew speaks up. Oh, this one I believe has been in for quite some time. This is the Gut Spiller. You can, as a bonus action with the Gut Spiller, choose a creature that you can see within 30 feet of you, and you can ask them a question, and the creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against a DC 15 wisdom saving throw, or be compelled to answer that question. And if the creature lies, the Gut Spiller will glow with increased magical power, making it empowered if someone lies to your question. Of course, this effect would end if you were to kill the creature. And once you've done this, you can do it again until the next dawn. But that is the Gut Spiller. It is a magical scimitar that kind of forces people to tell the truth in a roundabout way.
And if they don't tell the truth, well, you can spill some guts.
That is how it was. Can I get anything for anyone else?
My lord, do you sell lodestones here?
Lodestones. I believe that if you're looking for a simple lodestone, we could probably just... is that on the equipment table, Roger? Is that on the freebies list? I don't know where Roger has gone off to.
Roger,
Yeah.
oh, sorry about that. I was changing the air conditioning at the shop. It's so hot out these days.
I was saying a simple loading stone, one with a magnetic pull.
I fear I need a pair of them, my lord.
Such a thing would be just on the equipment table. Yes.
Actually, I don't think it is listed on the equipment table. I'd have to check.
Oh, just a simple thing? We don't have anything expressly for sale, but we might be able to just provide you with one. Or, given time, I mean, there's a number of things in the bag that do carry such a magical pull. But I'll look into see if we have a couple of small ones just hanging around that we might be able to supply you with.
Thank you, my lord. I would be much obliged. I had to borrow a pair today, and, well, I was informed that if I were a good spellcaster, then of course I would have my own, and if I am going to attempt to serve in that manner, I should endeavor to meet expectations.
Yes, well, I appreciate your rigor in pursuing this career, and you've done an excellent job today. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, my lord.
And anything else that I can obtain for someone? Going once, going twice. We'll be back with Adventure 3 in just a few moments.